Hey, happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, happy holidays. Merry Christmas Eve. It's your girl, Zsa Zsa. You are live listening to Yeah, I Said It. And y'all already know before I take it back, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add more to it. Okay? Listen, it is Christmas Eve. And I don't know about any of you. I don't know if you feel like how I've been feeling, where it's been kind of like a 50-50 split. It's like, I'm happy that it's Christmas Eve and it's beautiful. And then it's kind of like, it's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas. I'm just ready for all of this to be over with. I got on my We Can't Breathe shirt because just because we're celebrating the holiday, I don't want you all to forget some of the tumultuous challenges that we have faced, not only as a country, not only as a community, but as a people, our people. We have had some challenges with just humanity as a whole this year. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. I'm talking all about shine bright. Shine bright. I'm talking all about shine bright. You know, I love the holiday season, and Christmas is all about Jesus' birthday, just in case you forgot. It's not about you getting your kids all that, the stuff they wanted under the Christmas tree. It's Jesus' birthday, okay? And so, like most things in life, Jesus' birth was very non-traditional. And during that time, in those biblical times, y'all know y'all ain't got a heaven and hell to put me in, and I ain't trying to be super deep or spiritual, but I just want to drop this little nugget in your lap, because just because it's Christmas Eve, that don't mean that I'm going to stop doing Yeah, I Said It, because y'all already know before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And make sure y'all share this video, because it's going to help somebody this holiday season. And in this holiday season, we are going through some things, and you never know, sharing this video could potentially save somebody else's life. But Jesus was born in a manger. Because the hotel was too full and they ain't have enough room for him. They ain't have enough room for his mama or his stepdaddy. Okay, so Mary was his mama. Joseph was his stepdaddy. And quote unquote, Mary got pregnant by the angel. Okay, she pregnant with Jesus, right? Now, most people in life have a plan of how they are going to operate in life. You know, you get a plan on how much money you want to have. You get a plan on how much money you want to spend on certain things. You get a plan on, you know, when you get pregnant, this is how it's going to be. And, you know, when you get married, this is how it's going to be. And we all had all these plans for 2020, and we thought about where we was going to go, what we was going to do, who we was going to do it with, how long we was going to be doing it. All of these amazing things that we had planned. And just like Mary and Joseph, they had plans to have their baby, you know, at the place where they were supposed to have it at. And they were supposed to be, you know, at the hotel chilling, getting ready for their baby to come. And unfortunately, like most of our plans, just like Jesus' mom and daddy plans, they change. And we have to not only make adjustments, but we have to utilize the resources that we've been given to make the best out of a bad situation. Now, here it is. This woman is 9 months pregnant, getting ready to drop Jesus, her own baby, and she has to have her baby in a manger with some horses and some donkeys, some asses. And she has to have her baby in hay and in a place that is not so familiar and welcoming to a child. And just like this year, it has been not a plan of ours to go through what we've had to go through. You know, we didn't have the thought process of learning to make the best out of a bad situation. We just learned to adjust. And this year has been challenging for some people to make certain adjustments, because they never thought in a million years that they would have to deal with some of the things that they've had to go through. Now, I'm one to say I know life, real life. And I also know my purpose and my assignment. And unfortunately, for a lot of people in this world, they will never know their assignment, nor will they know their purpose. And when you know your assignment and when you know your purpose, you also understand that you will constantly be under attack. When you have a purpose and you have an assignment, you will constantly be under attack, because usually your purpose and your assignment is connected to either delivering somebody out of something healing somebody from something they've gone through, showing people that it can be done, because in an area where they don't see it as possible. Sometimes your purpose is connected to the freedom of others, because if you don't break free from something, it's going to cause so many generational curses and so many barriers and so many families if you don't do what you have been called to do. Now, with me knowing my purpose and knowing my assignment, I also know that there are attacks that are going to be assigned to me. See, some things in your life aren't just happening because you're a bad person. It's not happening because God hates you. It's happening because you have an assignment on your life. Merry Christmas to you too, Raylene. Merry Christmas. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Because you have a calling on your life, and because you have a purpose for your life, even if you don't understand the purpose yet, and even if you don't understand the true calling or the assignment on your life, you have one. We all do. Whether you've done bad all your life or got in trouble all your life, God has a purpose for allowing you to make it through millions of sperm to attack one egg to get you into this life. Merry Christmas, Monty. Merry Christmas to you too. Listen, you are not here by circumstance. Your mama could have went to the abortion clinic. She could have fell down the stairs and she could have had a miscarriage. There are so many reasons why you are here. And I find myself, when the holiday season comes, because both my parents are deceased. My brother is deceased. So, I have a hard time sometimes dealing with the holiday season because I want certain people to be here. And I know I'm not the only person that is going through grief because you want your loved ones to be around to celebrate these special occasions. So sometimes I have to get over myself. I have to get over what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with, because I'm not the only person that's dealing with this. Now, one of the things that I had to learn during this holiday season, is that I'm not always going to get what I want. In this holiday season, you have to understand, in life, you are not always going to get what you want, whether you've been naughty or whether you've been nice. You are not always going to get what you want. Merry Christmas to you too, Uncle Keith. Merry Christmas. And to all the families out there, Merry Christmas. You're not always going to get what you want, whether you've been naughty or nice. And sometimes it's hard to look at people who've been naughty and they end up with nice things. It's hard to know that you've been nice and you end up being treated like you naughty. Can I get an amen, somebody? Okay. I know I ain't the only one. All right, cool. So in this holiday season, I've been feeling like a 50-50 split. I've been feeling like, I'm feeling it. And then I was like, I ain't feeling it. So I went and got me a little sweater and whatnot, you know what I'm saying, from my previous employer. And, I went in there and got me a little sweater for y'all, because I figured if y'all see me with the sweater on tomorrow, I don't want to hear nothing about nothing. Yeah, I had this on yesterday, okay? It's a cardigan, so it's meant to be worn more than once. So for all of you out there that are haters and always paying attention to what somebody else doing, yes, I'm going to have this on tomorrow because it's for Christmas. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it, okay? Now, if you're tuning in, I'm talking about shine bright, okay? Shine bright. Y'all like my little bun? I decided to take it back, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Usually I be having my hair down, but I said, I'm going to wear my hair up in this little bun. I got my little clips to say black love and whatnot. It's the holiday season, so I have to boost myself up. And sometimes you're going to have to boost yourself up to get into the spirit. It doesn't mean that it takes away what you feel and how you feel and dealing with grief and dealing with all the things that you're dealing with. But I also had to reach out and grab peace. I never forget this young lady at my church who I had a problem with a couple years ago. I mentioned this story before. I told her I just want us to be peaceful in the church. I don't want us to be beefed out. I don't want people to think of me and you arguing and beefed out over this ninja. And, I don't want it. But it ended up being that way anyway, because people always want to take something and make it bad anyway. So anyway, I never forget when this young lady said this to me. Well, she ain't a young lady. She a lady. That was so shady. That was shady. She's a lady, okay? See, I got to do a self-assessment too, y'all. Sometimes I got to check myself. So this young lady told me, she said, you don't get your peace from me, you get your peace from God. And I'll never forget that as long as I live, and as long as I have breath in my body, because she was right. Sometimes we are looking for, sometimes we are looking for people to give us peace that God is waiting to give you. You just got to ask for it. And I had to think about my situation, especially during that time, because it was hard for me to enjoy Christmas. It was hard for me to enjoy Thanksgiving and New Year's and Valentine's Day and Easter Sunday and Mother's Day and Father's Day, because those were holidays that reminded me of what I didn't have. Those holidays reminded me of who was not there. And I found myself falling into this spiral of depression. It's like depression don't never ask you whether or not they want you to come in your life right then and there. Like I could be having a whole beautiful day, and then the depression, I'll get a thought about my mama, or I'll think about my dad, and then depression will just be like, ah, and I'm like, oh, get off of me, depression. No. And I have to have this conversation with myself. And I know, it probably seemed crazy to y'all, but I know what depression did to me. I know where depression took me. And I don't ever want to be in that place again. And see, some of you have become too comfortable with depression. You like being depressed. I don't like being depressed. I don't like being down and out. I'm not a sad person. There are some people that get their rocks off by being depressed. I don't want to be around no Eeyore person. Y'all know Eeyore off of Winnie the Pooh. And Eeyore, it didn't matter, no matter how happy it was, no matter what the occasion, no matter what Winnie the Pooh and Piglet got a chance to do and accomplish in the episode, it never changed Eeyore's attitude toward life. They could have just went off the most amazing adventure, and Eeyore would still say, well, I guess we got a chance to get it done this time. And I know I'm not the only person to know some Eeyores in your life. Sometimes your parents can be the Eeyores in your life. Sometimes your friends can be the Eeyores in your life. Sometimes your job can be the ERs in your life. It doesn't matter, because there are some people that will just make a great situation turn into a bad situation. And don't get me wrong, I was one of those people. Because I was going through so much stuff, I didn't really realize how negative I was. So I had to go and ask God for the peace that I was so desperately looking for. And see, some of you live in a chaotic life and living chaotically because you're not asking God for things that you need. Oh, you asking for your man for stuff. You asking your woman for stuff. You asking stuff for your kids, but you ain't asking God for the things that you really need. And I had to get to a point where I stopped asking God for things that I could get myself. And I started asking God for things that I couldn't go into the store and buy. You can't go buy peace. No matter how much money you acquire, no matter how much money you got in the bank account. Look at the celebrities. They will still kill themselves. Robin Williams, one of the funniest men in comedy history. Jumanji, Mrs. Doubtfire, killed herself. One of the most leading ladies in fashion. She was a millionaire. Just had launched her line, turned around and killed herself. My father, he killed himself the day after Thanksgiving. So I'm not telling you nothing that I'm making up and pulling up out my bum. This is what I know to be true in real life. At the end of the day, life has a way of shooting its shot, and depending on where you are in life, you may get hit with some good things and you may get hit with some bad things. See, I had to ask God not only for peace, but I also had to be willing in this season in my life to forgive. It don't mean that I got to be connected back with you. It don't mean that we got to be homegirls or BFFs again. But what I had to come to the conclusion is I have to forgive you, not just because it is necessary for the next steps and stages in my life, but I have to forgive you because there's going to come a time where I'm not going to do everything right. And I'm going to be looking for forgiveness myself. Who am I to hold somebody hostage for doing me wrong when I haven't always done the best and I haven't always made the best decisions and I haven't always handled people with the best intentions and the best care as I should. So who am I to hold somebody else hostage? However, there is a standard of peace and forgiveness that you must uphold in order for you to maintain it. See, in order for me to maintain this peace that I want, in order for me to continue to be forgiven, I have to let there be a standard. See, I know what the enemy is going to utilize to attack me, because that's like I said in the beginning of the show. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking all about shine bright. Shine bright. It's a reason I'm going somewhere. Just stick with me. Shine bright. See, it's a reason why I need peace and I need forgiveness, because I know my assignment is people. And your very assignment and your very purpose is also going to be the very thing that's going to attack you. See, because I know that my assignment is people, my biggest threat is also going to be people. See, your biggest challenge is never going to be the things that you can maintain and handle. Your biggest challenge is always going to be the things that you are connected to as your assignment. See, because people are my assignment, I had to learn to be peaceful amongst all men, because that is what's required of me if I'm going to be in the will of God, and if I'm going to follow up on my purpose and my assignment. I have to understand that people are my purpose and my assignment, and people will also be my demise and my attack. See, sometimes I had to learn why I felt so emotional based off of certain things that people would say. And it wasn't because I felt attacked or I was hurt by it. It's because I feel people. I can feel them. Like, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but I have this gift and it was a gift that I ran from for a long time. People can say a lot of things, but I can read you. And oh, baby, I can read you well. I can sense a person's vibe, their energy, their Holy Ghost, their spirit before they even say a word. I can look you dead in your eyes and in your spirit and know that you have something that you are in turmoil with, something that you are challenged with, something that you are keeping a secret and people don't know it. I can see things that are on you without you even knowing these things are on you. And I think that is one of the reasons why I know a lot of people, but I don't like a lot of people around me. And I think that's dealing with the gift of prophecy and the gift of discernment. And I know a lot of people that deal in that realm, that they know a lot of people. They're close and connected to a lot of people, but they don't have a lot of people around them a lot of times. And I found that to be true when it comes to me. So if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking all about shine bright. And in this holiday season, my son, he's a senior at Cass Technical High School, and this is his last year being my little baby, even though he'll always be my baby. You know, for the last few Christmas holidays, it wasn't really that good for us. And I wasn't really a big fan of Christmas. Not because I didn't want to celebrate, but because I wasn't in the financial situation where I could, cash out and buy all these gifts and celebrate like I wanted to, because I was dealing with stuff. And when you dealing with stuff, you ain't thinking about no damn gifts. You thinking about paying these bills, having a roof over your head, making sure you got gas in your car. You thinking about the necessities. You ain't thinking about the wants. You barely trying to make it to accomplish the needs, let alone maintain the wants. So for the last few years, I wasn't really in the Christmas spirit. Very it's just another holiday. But this year, my son asked me to get a Christmas tree. And for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I have been on this Christmas tree hunt. And nobody had a Christmas tree. I couldn't go nowhere. And I wasn't about to spend no $200, $300 on a Christmas tree. Kudos to all of you wonderful people out there that decide to spend all that money on a Christmas tree. Your girl, Zsa Zsa, she not doing that. Maybe when I get to a place financially where $200 on a Christmas tree doesn't seem like a waste. But for me, that's not where my priorities lie. My priorities don't lie in spending $200, $100 on a Christmas tree. That's just me. I ain't tripping on nobody else who do you. So this year my son wanted a Christmas tree, and I went out on this limb to get him a Christmas tree because this last year at home as a high school student, because next year he'll be coming home for college. And depending on where I will be living in this next season, I'm making that decision in these next few months. I have some offers to do some great things in some other places, and I haven't made a decision yet because I'm loyal, and I'm loyal to my city. And, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes loyalty can make a fool out of you, or it can make a fortune. So I haven't decided, but I will shortly. So my son wanted a Christmas tree. So I went on this 2-week search for a Christmas tree because my son, he wanted a Christmas tree. So sometimes as a mother or a father or as parents, we oftentimes want to give our children everything that they ask for. You know, we oftentimes look at their Christmas lists and, you know, I remember there were Christmas times where I would look at my son's Christmas list and I'd be like, who do he think I am? He must really think I'm really this boss like this. Like he really think his mom is out here making cool all this globs of money. And, you know, then as they get older, their Christmas list becomes a little bit more expensive. It becomes a lot less, but it becomes a lot more expensive. You know, they'll say things like, oh, I just want a phone. And, you know, I just want a car. And, you know, I just want these Gucci belts. And, oh, I want some, you know, Yeezys. And I used to be like, boy, what are you looking at are you looking at my check stubs? Because my check stubs don't say Yeezys. My check stubs don't say iPhone. My check stub is saying more like a flip phone from Boost Mobile. Now, it's still going to ring, and it may have a few games. Doesn't have a touch screen on it, but you can press buttons. See, because kids, they don't look at it. All they look at is it's a white man, it's fat, he got white hair, he may possibly come down my my chimney if I'm good, because my mama and my daddy are threatening me and saying that Santa is not going to bring me this certain things if I don't do good and I don't get these certain grades. And so we look at these lists, and our kids create these lists because we allow them to, and we give them this thought process. And I know I'm not the only person. At a certain age, you know, you have to have this real conversation with your child because they're giving all of these kudos and props to a white man for breaking and entering into our home and putting toys down that I purchased, or his grandma and granddaddy purchased, or his father decided that today I'm going to be participating and purchasing gifts. See, a lot of times our children don't understand how hard we work to get these things for our children, only for them to turn around and not even appreciate the things that we've done. See, I don't know about you, but I'm a real parent. I'm 100. Okay. Now I don't know about some of you parents who act like you are from La La Land and you've always had your whole life together and you ain't never had it hard. But I know for me, there was a point in time where I had to have a real ninja conversation with my child and say, Mr. Claus didn't get this. Miss Hubbard did. Okay. Mr. Claus wasn't in line for this stuff. This one right here, she was in line. Yeah. Mr. Claus, he didn't stay up wrapping this sugar honey iced tea all night. I did. I stayed up. I'm the one who stayed up and wrapped all those gifts. So there comes to a point in time where you have to have those type of conversations so that you don't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Because, you know, I had to have a conversation with my son because, you know, at a time in his age, he thought that these were things that were supposed to happen. And because we've allowed media and television and generation after generation of storytelling, that we have caused our children to be misled, which in turn causes us to be depressed and suffer from anxiety because we're not able to get people that we love, all of these items that we see. We are looking at other people's social media and we're seeing that these people have bought these people this and these people have bought these people that. I'm going to tell you something. Don't let these people on social media or in life in general, make you feel bad for the things that you were able to get your children. Because 9 times out of 10, these ninjas got all of this stuff from unemployment scamming money, scheming and scamming off of whoever and whatever. And it ain't just young folks that's scheming and scamming too. It's 40-some-year-olds, 50-some-year-olds, 60-some-year-olds, 30-some-year-olds scamming too. Listen, the woman that got caught that was the porch pirate, she ain't the only pirate out here. There's some more pirates out here. She just was bold enough to do it out in the open. But there are some private pirates out here that are just as much of a thief as the porch pirate is. Okay, they just ain't riding around in a Range Rover stealing. Okay, some people riding around in a minivan and they stealing too. Some people riding around in a brand new truck and they stealing too. Some people at the bus stop and they stealing too. Some people are sitting in the Oval Office and they stealing too. Some people sitting in the city county building at the city county table and they stealing too. Some people are walking around with a legal title and they stealing too. So don't get the game twisted when you start looking at social media and start feeling inadequate or feeling some type of way because certain people got certain things. I'm gonna tell you this: one thing's for certain, 2 things is for sure, baby. Okay, everything ain't always what it seems, and everybody that got certain things, they are not always the person that quote unquote got it. Okay, I know men who live with women right now. They ain't bought nothing. Okay, they ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. But because their women are okay with looking like fools, they'll buy themselves an engagement ring and say he bought it. They'll buy themselves some flowers and say that he got them. Some women are just really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and they just don't want to look stupid. So they'll buy themselves Michael Kors and they'll buy themselves all of these things and they'll say, oh, he got it for me. Or they'll buy the children toys for the baby mama, for the other kids, and then they'll turn around and say, yeah, he got them for the kids. No. In this season, we're going to stop lying. We're going to stop lying for people, and we're going to call a spade a spade. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's going to give you a headache when you don't. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you continue to manifest lies, you'll have to continue manifesting lies. See, one of the things that I love is that when you live by the truth, you ain't got to worry about living with a lie. When you live with the truth, you ain't got to worry about living with a lie. See, I try my best to live my life so truthful that I ain't got to worry about a lie. Because when you worry about a lie, you got to worry about maintaining that lie. When you do people wrong, you got to worry about maintaining how you did them wrong. See, I know this because when I deal with people, I deal with them the way I would want to be treated. And we just had a death in our love in our life, and I reached out to a young lady that I deemed to be very close with, and I reached out to her because I seek wisdom from others. Either you're gonna seek wisdom or you're gonna seek foolishness. And depending on where you get your advice from, depending on where you get your wisdom and your advice from, you'll have people having you looking stupid, like a fool, or you can get wisdom and they'll have you wise. So I reached out to my wisdom and I asked them how did they feel about me doing this certain thing, reaching out. Woo, woo, woo. They said, yeah, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. This is how you do it. So I reached out, let them know my condolences, blah, 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 woo, woo, woo. And, they reached back to me and they said, thank you for reaching out. Zsa, I just want to tell you that I want to apologize and I got love for you. And, if it's feasible, I want us to move forward. Now, dig this. I'm a fan of moving forward. But what I'm not a fan of is people halfway loving me, halfway supporting me, halfway feeling me. And what I had, my response to that was, I don't want people in my life that got love for me. I want people in my life that love me. See, you won't get hurt by if he don't buy you a Christmas gift, if she don't get you a Christmas gift, if a certain person don't do this, if a certain person don't do this. See, when you know a person has love for you, it doesn't matter what they buy you that will reflect that love. And don't get me wrong. all women and men and everybody, they all want gifts. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody that don't want a gift from the people that they love. But at the end of the day, that doesn't determine if they love you any more or any less. At the end of the day, are they giving you real love is the question. Now, when I got my son this Christmas tree, it made me feel so Christmassy, you know? It made me go buy wrapping paper and, you know, I had gifts. I was just going to give them to him. You know what I'm saying? He got me gifts and I got him gifts, and it wasn't a big thing. I just figured we were just going to give each other gifts and keep it moving. So I got a Christmas tree, and we decorated the Christmas tree, and it was so beautiful because we hadn't done that in quite some time. And you know, with the family dynamics and not having family over and not being able to do what we would usually do because of COVID, you know, it kind of took away a lot of the funness. However, we went and bought some games and some things that we're going to play and have some family games and stuff like that tomorrow and tonight. And I want to say, in order for us to move forward with this pandemic, we are going to have to learn to be disciplined. Now, I know y'all like having family and friends over for the holiday and all that great stuff, but we are going to have to learn to make that adjustment and not have all of these people around. Like, we have got to get to the point where it's going to be okay for us not to partake in things. Because if we still have COVID-19 going on and people are still sick and people are still dying, what that means is that people are still not wearing their masks. People are still being careless. You are going to have to hold people accountable in this season, and shining bright means just that. See, one of the things that I love about the holidays, and my favorite part about the holidays, is the lights. I love the Christmas lights. I had two couples that I married during this holiday season at Beacon Park. And, you know, I love the Wayne County Light Show. I love going into suburban communities and seeing the whole block, the whole community lit up. And you can tell who's really, really into the Christmas spirit. Hey, what's going on? You can tell who's really into the Christmas spirit based upon the lights outside the house, the lights inside the house, and who's really just trying to cheer up the area. Merry Christmas to you, official Kiki_16. You can tell who's really in the holiday spirit based upon their house. You can tell who really gave effort and who really didn't based upon, you know, decorations. And in this season, and in this season that we're getting ready to approach, the new year's coming. We got a few more days, about a week left in 2020. And I want to tell you, shine bright. Shine bright. I used to be afraid to hone in on all my gifts and talents because I didn't want to seem like, oh, she's doing too much. Oh, she's this, she's that. And, you know, sometimes people, OPO, other people's opinion, can sometimes weigh on you and it'll cause you to be paralyzed. You know, there are a lot of things that I haven't posted, some successes that I didn't share because I didn't want to seem like, oh my God, here it is. You know, because people will do that. People will be like, oh my God, here she go again with something else great, or here it is. Okay, now she's doing this. And I found myself dumbing down my blessings, or dumbing down God's favor on my life because I didn't want to create this tension. And what I found is that tension is already going to be created from another person who suffers from insecurities. Shine bright. If you don't hear nothing else that I say on this show today, shine bright. Because your watts has nothing to do with another person's watt. I used to make myself not seem as big as I knew I was because I didn't want to make another person feel so small. And what I have to understand is that everybody can't be the main star. Yes, everybody is the main star in their own story, in their own life. But then there are going to be some stars in life that are going to shine brighter than other stars. It doesn't mean that you don't shine. It doesn't mean that you don't have people that's supposed to be in awe or in admiration in what it is that you do. But don't dim your light because you're afraid of outshining someone else. See, I had to really let that marinate, because the Bible says, let your light so shine. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which art in heaven. So what that tells me is that if I have been orchestrated to let my light so shine, that means that if I have a light that's inside of me, I am charged to let my light shine so bright before people. I have been orchestrated and charged to let my light shine so bright. And I remember doing devotional or doing worship, as some would say. And as kids, we would have to get up in front at my old church, and we would have to do little worship songs, and we would sing, one of my favorite ones to go to was "This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine." And I remember growing up singing that song until you get older and people hate your light. And like Christmas lights in neighborhoods, there are some houses that will shine brighter than others. It doesn't take away or mean that the other houses with less lights don't share the same joyful spirit and holiday spirit as the person with the bigger lights. It just means that their lights are brighter. And sometimes we will feel inferior because somebody else's lights are shining brighter than ours, and they're on the same street as us. See, a lot of times we feel jealous and inferior, not because their lights don't look beautiful. The color and the coordination and the things that they've made it look as beautiful as it is, it doesn't mean that what they have displayed is not wonderful. It just means that you just don't like that they doing it, or that you can't have your lights as bigger. There was a time in my life I had to watch other people shine. And I mean, they had newspaper articles and they were winning awards back to back, and they were killing the game. And I had to watch, and there was a spirit of jealousy and envy that crept up in me, and I had to pray that thing off of me and pray that stuff away from me, because I knew there was a time that I was going to shine bright. There was a time where all the things that I was asking God for was going to come into fruition. And so I had to learn that my lights are going to shine bright, just like theirs is shining bright right now. And so when you get into learning the family dynamics, and you start learning yourself, and you start learning the brighter lights that shine, you take responsibility for your life the way that you should. You don't live frivolously. You ain't out here without a mask, because you understand, and you for sure aren't going to allow gifts from one day stress you out, and now you all stressed out because you can't get this, or you only was able to get a little bit of this, and you will only be able to do a little bit of that. I am a firm believer, and this is my quote that I live by. Do what you can with what you have until you can do more than what you had. And in order for you to move forward in life, you have to be okay with utilizing the resources that you have and utilizing what God has given you in order to accomplish that task. See, my son and my sister and my nephew and I, we went to the mall the other day. We were out at Somerset. Oh, and Somerset was popping. Somerset is a mall in Michigan, in Troy, that a lot of people go to because it has a lot of high-end stores out there. And it's one of the premier malls in Michigan. It's very, very nice. Back in the day, I hung out at Fairlane because Fairlane was what was popping. But Fairlane went down, all the way downhill since then. But nevertheless, we went to the mall. And of course, it is a pandemic going on. People are dying. And my nephew had on his gloves. He had on his mask. He was just all covered up. And we like, why are you all covered up? And he was like, it's COVID-19 out here. And in that split of a second, I literally found my anxiety rising up, because I'm like, does the mall have a filter? Do they have air filters? Everybody is touching stuff. People are picking up shoes, putting down shoes, picking up a shirt, touching the hangers, putting down the hangers. And in that quick of a second, I literally felt my anxiety rise up, because I'm like, oh my God, he's so right. We are in a pandemic. it is COVID out here. They are saying that COVID is, if you touch on surfaces, it lasts for 9 hours for this and 7 hours for this. And I'm just literally, I had to literally count to 100 so that I didn't spaz out. Because in that quick of a second, we can be so careless and in the moment that we forget we need to protect ourselves. We need to be covering ourselves. See, I got on my shirt, "We can't breathe," not because I want to be a Debbie Downer, but because we can be so caught up in, oh, it's the holiday season. Oh, it's Christmas. Oh, cheers, joy to the world, gifts, wrapping paper, fun, life, that we'll forget that we're in the middle of a pandemic and a race war. We'll forget that literally hundreds of people died this year from being killed, from gun violence. Hundreds of thousands of people died because of simply not being able to breathe. Millions of people died this year from not being able to breathe. We had people dying, not just from racism and people who decided to be a-holes and kill people because of the color of their skin, but we had people dying because they could not breathe from being on a ventilator. Something that was supposed to help them turned around and killed them. So I'm not just wearing the shirt for the people that were murdered by police officers in the hands of police officers, but I'm wearing the shirt because we were murdered by our own government. Scandemic. This was like scamdemic. Okay? And unfortunately, because of the scamdemic, we have lost millions of people. This is not a game. This is not a game, and we have to shine bright. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, share this video. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know Zsa Zsa because you do. You know me just like I know some of y'all. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Listen, enjoy this holiday season with your family. Enjoy this holiday season by resting, giving your brain a rest, giving your life a break just by sitting. And if you can't sit still, do the very things that you enjoy doing. You know, I've learned that the real gift this year is life. The real gift is life. Air in your lungs, breath in your body. That's the real gift. There's nothing that you can buy me that can remove having air. I never forget, as long as I live, March 30th, 2020. When I felt like my lungs were like this. And lungs do like this when you're breathing. That's what lungs do. And March 30th, 2020, my lungs did like this. And they didn't come back down. And I felt like I was literally breathing air through a straw. And like many of hundreds of thousands of people who had the opportunity of being healed and overcoming COVID, you also know that that wasn't something to joke about. That wasn't something that we or anyone should have taken lightly or should not be taken lightly now. Because the real gift is life. And God didn't give us life to be scared. God gave us life and that we live it more abundantly. Not for us to live it scarcely or for any of us to live in lack or poverty. It does say that we will always have the poor with us, but poor and poverty is two different things. Being poor is a level of an economic status. And if the economic status grows, being poor just means that you just don't have what all the rich people have. Doesn't mean that you're living in poverty or below the actual economic level and to the point where you are robbing Peter to pay Paul. It just means that you just don't have what rich people have. It's a difference. And see, the thing about it is that all of our lives are a lot better than what they could be. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, Mary and Joseph didn't anticipate birthing Jesus in a manger. but they did what they had to do and they made the best out of the situation. A lot of us didn't anticipate having to deal with all of the things that we had to deal with this year, but we learned to make the best out of a bad situation. And at the end of the day, sometimes our traditions on how we think things are supposed to be oftentimes have to die right along with the things that we feel or deem important. See, there were traditions that I thought were a priority or things that had to happen in order for other things to happen. But this year taught us that we didn't need certain things in order for us to have a good time. We didn't need certain businesses to be open in order for us to have a good meal. There were certain things that we learned this year that we did not need to have in order for us to have a fulfilling and impactful life. Shine bright. Shine bright. Shine bright. Shine bright. Because at the end of the day, when those traditions die hard, it allows you to give birth and give life to new traditions. It allows you to give birth and life to new things for your family, new things for you all to enjoy. See, sometimes the old things pass away to behold, all things have become new. Sometimes old things must die in order for new things to be birthed within us. I didn't realize how affected I was from my mother's death until I started doing things that were abnormal, unorthodox, things that I wouldn't normally do, until I started really paying attention to my life. And see, when it comes to overcoming certain situations, you're going to have to put your foot down, set boundaries, and stick to them. It doesn't mean that you don't love anybody any less. It doesn't mean that you're not looking out for anybody any less. It just means that there are going to have to be some standards. And see, shining bright requires you to have some standards. See, people know that when they come to my house, you got to take your shoes off at the door. It don't mean that I don't love your shoes. It don't mean that I want to smell your funky feet. It just means that there is a standard that I've set at my home. When you go to your home, there's a standard that's set at your home. When you set standards in your home or in your life, it allows you to shine brighter. Excuse me. It doesn't mean that this journey will always be easy, but it does mean that you have set standards in your life that will allow you not to just be dealing with just any old thing. And when you shine bright in life, there are things that when you get to a certain level that you just don't allow to happen anymore. You just don't allow certain people to do certain things anymore. You just don't allow things to go the way that they would normally go. And listen, if you want something better, you do something better. If you want to see a change, you have to make that change. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking all about shine bright. Listen, I know that this season has caused us to lose some people that we love, whether it be friendship, whether it be physically lost them, emotionally lost them, or you just lost them in general. What I will say is that when I lost my parents, I truly believe that they became my guardian angels. When I lost my brother, I definitely believe that, he became another angel that was protecting and watching over us. There were things that happened in my life where I knew I was supposed to be gone. Like I knew I was supposed to be dead. I don't know about you all, that maybe you all don't think that you've had some second chances and you think you owed those chances. Well, I know for a fact that I was supposed to be dead a long time ago. Based off of things that I did and got myself into, and based upon things that I got involved in inadvertently and didn't have a clue. But I know that there was somebody watching over me while I was going through these things, because they could have ended a whole lot differently for me. So I look at people that I lost, not as a loss, but as my guardian angels. I also understand that because I have a light that's within me, and because I've been charged to let my light so shine, I also understand that there's going to come a time where my light is going to be brighter. My light is going to be fuller. My light is going to be full of more spirit. It's going to be full of more love. And there also going to be a time where you're going to come across people whose light is going to be dim, whose light won't be as full, whose spirit won't be as pleasant, who won't have as much love to share. But that does not stop you from still allowing your light to shine, allowing you to be brighter, allowing you to love fuller, to allow your spirit. Because there are situations, like I said last week, that cause me to feel bitter, cause me to be angry. But I had to learn that I'm not going to allow those things and those situations that happen to me to stop me from loving any less. Listen, my mama used to say, ain't nothing new under the sun. And it's true. There ain't nothing new under the sun. The same things that they was trying to pull in the 50s, they did it in the 60s. Same thing they was trying to do in the 60s, they did it in the 70s. Same thing they was doing in the 70s, they turned around and tried to do it in the 80s. Same thing that they doing in the 80s, they doing in the 90s, 2000s, early 2000s. I'm telling you, if you look at fashion, if you look at all of the things that are trending now, or all of the things that were trending before, bell-bottom pants, hair clips, all these things that were trending, multiple chains, they was doing that in the 80s. So there ain't nothing new under the sun. And 9 times out of 10, most of the time, these things will come right back around full circle. So don't get yourself caught up and wrapped up when you are missing out on something or feeling not as involved as you want to, or as you should be, because ain't nothing new under the sun. You ain't missing out on nothing. And in these next few couple of days, this next week or so, I want you to reflect. Reflect on the seasons where you shine this year. The seasons where you didn't shine as bright. The seasons where you didn't feel your best, and the seasons where you felt your best. You know, I oftentimes, and I go and I ride in neighborhoods and I look at the lights and I think about all of the opportunities that I walked into. And I think about all the opportunities that I walked away from. I think about all of the friendships that I gained, and I think about the ones I lost. I think about the love that I shared and the love that I didn't get back. I think about, my business, what I could have done better, what I did great, what I didn't do so well at. You know, one of the greatest things that I tell people and I teach people is that in order for you to become your best self, you are going to have self-assessments. Self-assessments require you to look at yourself and to see how you have potentially allowed yourself to be engaged in certain things, whether they were good or bad. Did you step up to the plate, or did you fall by the wayside? Did you do what you said you were going to do, or did your words mean absolutely nothing? See, I've learned that in me shining bright, I also have to learn when I've had some dull moments, because like most lights, you will get a dud or you'll get a good light. At times when we have shined our brightest, we feel our best. And when we don't shine our brightest is when we don't feel our best. And I'm telling you, shine bright. This next year we're getting ready to go into, don't wait till the new year to shine your brightest. Start shining now. I'm getting ready to start my new television show, Uncommon Conversations, and it has been draining me literally for this last month. From the people it's involved, outside of my guests. I love my guests. All of my guests have been amazing, A1. But I've had some challenges with working with people committing to the things that they say they're going to do, learning different programs, different things, having to film things all over again. That's very frustrating. But I know that this is my lane. This is where I shine my brightest. This is where I feel the fullest. This is where I feel the most highest spirit. And this is something that I've always wanted to do. So because this is something that I've always wanted to do, I also know that I have to reflect on my goals. And in the midst of all of us trying to accomplish all of what we're trying to accomplish and enjoy this holiday season, I encourage you to take mental breaks. Mental breaks are a necessity, just like brushing your teeth or washing your hands. Sometimes you have to walk away just to save your mindset. And sometimes people walking away from you, it doesn't mean that's God taking someone away from you. Sometimes you need them to stay away from you so that you can figure you out. When we all dispersed after my mom died and everybody just kind of all went their own way, I didn't really realize how much of quietness and peace of mind I needed until I realized I didn't have it. I didn't realize that for so long I was raised in a household with trauma and drama and loudness and people, and we're yelling about who's sharing the bathroom and we're yelling, I was so used to having so many people in my household and there was always being something that when it was quiet and there wasn't nothing going on, I felt weird because I was looking for peace, but because I never knew what peace looked like, I wasn't familiar with how to handle it. And see, some of us are walking into a season with things that we've asked God for, but we don't understand how to handle it. We wanted marriage and we got it, but we don't know how to deal with our spouses. We wanted children and now we got them, and we don't know how to deal with the children that God gave us. We wanted a business and we prayed about our business, and now our businesses are doing some things that we didn't anticipate it to do, and we're not familiar in this season in our life, and we don't know how to handle it. Some of us said we wanted money and we wanted God to bless us with the money, and now we're getting the money and we don't know what to do with it. Mental breaks are necessary. They allow your thoughts to be rebooted. They allow your spirit man to be rebooted. When you rest and you walk away from things to get a fresh air or to get your thoughts together, it allows you to be sober-minded. Some things you can't drink away, smoke away. Some things you are going to have to deal with a sober mind. Mental breaks are necessary. And I want you to understand something that is critical in this season in our lives is that darkness is necessary in order for you to shine your brightest. Stars shine their brightest at night, in the dark. You are going to shine your brightest by overcoming some of your darkest times. I shined my brightest when I was dealing with some of the most darkest things in my life. That's when I shined the brightest. That's when I was the most effective. That was when I was the most impactful. It wasn't when everything was going my way. Yeah, I shined bright then too. I had it popping then too. But it wasn't until I was overcoming something that people knew I was going through that I was able to shine and come through as pure gold. It wasn't when everything was going my way. It was when when all hell was breaking loose, when I was shining my brightest. See, I didn't realize how bright I was shining until I looked around and saw how much darkness I was in. It wasn't until I realized all of the things that I overcame to see how bright my future was. See, it wasn't until I looked at my darkest moments in my life and saw how far I had come. See, there were some really dark things that I overcome. Being a teenage mother and having my son July 1st, 2003, knowing that I had to be in college 3 days later, brand new baby. In order for me to keep my scholarship in school, I had to be there. Losing my mother to the hospital that was supposed to help her, only for her to end up with a punctured lung. I ain't the only person that been through it. Knowing that my son's father slept with a young lady that used to be my friend, only for them to turn around and have children together, turn around and marry my husband, and only for him to turn around and marry another woman at the same church and have the people that I love to turn on me and to side with them. Those were some dark moments in my world. To lose my home to foreclosure, to end up being homeless, living in somebody else's house, to be paying rent to somebody that didn't even own the house that I was paying rent to. Oh, I'd have been through some stuff. But then I turn around and I look at it and I say, dang, Zsa, you really been through these things. And look at you. People see me and they say, girl, you look good. And I say, I don't look like what I've been through. Because I don't. And I thank God. And although I would love to have all the latest and greatest things out here in this world, I also know life is the best gift that we could ever have. Listen, we shine our brightest through some of the toughest storms, through some of the hardest challenges. And in this season, before I leave, I talked all about shining bright. In this season, you are going to be accompanied by people who are wise, or you can be accompanied by people that are foolish. See, when Jesus was born, he was accompanied by 3 wise men, and those 3 wise men came with gifts. They came with gifts because they knew that a Savior was born. Something great was getting ready to be birthed out of them. When God knows that he's birthing something out of you, he is going to send you wise people to help fulfill that promise that God has on your life. And there are also going to be people that are going to be sent in your path that are going to be foolish, and they're going to cause you to do some foolish things. See, I didn't listen to my mama when she told me at 16 to leave that young man alone, and that young man didn't leave me alone. And because of it, I end up making a foolish decision. And in my foolish decision, I had to learn to deal with the decision that I made because I wasn't listening to wisdom. And sometimes you are going to have to learn to decipher between the people that are speaking wisdom into your world or the people that are encouraging you to do foolish sugar, honey, iced tea. There are going to be 2 people that are going to be sent into your world. People that are going to encourage you, to give you wisdom, to deal with the experiences that you're going to go through. Or there are going to be people that are encouraging you to do some foolishness. Who you going to listen to in this season? And that's going to determine what the rest of your 2020 going to look like and the rest of your 2021. Listen, in this season, you are going to have to get out of line for purpose and become aligned with purpose. Get out of line with purpose and become aligned with purpose. What do you mean by that, Zsa Zsa? All of us are trying to get in line and figure out what is it that God wants us to do. What is it that you want me to do, God? What is it you want me to do? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to be with this person. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't know if I'm making the right decision. See, some of us are in line trying to figure out what we're supposed to do instead of becoming aligned with what we are meant to be doing. We need to become aligned. See, when things are aligned the right way, listen, there is not a heaven or hell that will make it change when you become aligned with something. Me speaking, me being a talk show host, me being a podcast host, a creator, content, that's not me that's not me waiting in line to figure out my purpose. That's aligning the things that I'm good at and pushing my purpose through. See, some of you are in line looking for God to show you what he's already shown you. You just have to become aligned with it, not in line. See, when people are in line, they waiting on something. You know, you in line. I'm in line. I'm waiting for something. When you become aligned with something, you already have what you are looking for. You already have what you're searching for. When you become aligned with your purpose, you become aligned with the very thing that is going to propel you to your next level in life. Listen, in this season, I want y'all to dig deep. I ain't going to try to hold y'all long because I got stuff I got to do and I got to wrap some gifts and stuff like that. But I want to tell you this, and this is my last thought. Never judge a gift by the box, but by the contents that are in it. Never judge a gift by its box, but by the contents that are in it. See, some of you are going to look at some gifts that you're going to get this year, and you're going to turn your nose up. And you're not going to think about what a person had to go through to get you that very gift. You're not going to think about how they had to stand in line. You're not going to think about the little bit of money they did have that they could have put towards something else. You're not going to think about the love that they put into it. So the next time you decide to look at the gifts that God has given you or somebody else gave you, be grateful. Because some of you are so ungrateful. You're ungrateful to God, and you're ungrateful to the people that decided to bless you with something. See, the most person that you should be grateful to is God for even allowing you to have the gift of life. Because you could be one of the people that we are mourning this year. That is not the case. Don't get so caught up in thinking that you deserve a gift when the ultimate gift that you have been given is life. So before you decide to get out of pocket with anybody for a gift that you think that you were supposed to get or a gift that you did get, be grateful that somebody thought about your little trifling knucklehead self enough to give you something, especially God, who gave you the gift of life and allowed you to be here to even obtain the gifts that you're going to get from somebody else. Finally, shine bright. Don't worry about somebody else's watts or their voltage if they are not like yours. You allow your light to shine so bright that people have no choice but to see you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how far you are. When you are shining at your brightest, people will see you. Some of these Christmas lights can be seen far and near, but it doesn't stop them from shining. Listen, it's your girl, Zsa Zsa. You're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Listen, follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know Zsa Zsa because you know you do. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. Enjoy your wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas to you all. And I hope that you have a wonderful and amazing Christmas holiday with you and your family. Listen. Don't you stress yourself out about none of this stuff that you can't control. Okay? Peace.